Hey, everybody. Good evening. This is Nurse Eunice, and tonight we are here for Night Shift with Nurse Eunice. I do see some of our regulars who are here already. Hello, Jose. Hello, Mila. We'll give the others about 15 seconds to receive their notifications, and we'll get started. We're just here for coffee, communication. Let's see how our weeks have been. Mila, I'm excited also. How have you been? And so, if you'll give us a thumbs up in the chat, let me know that you can hear me. And you all, my hair isn't done. So, you all, this is what you're getting tonight. You're getting a talking head. Hey, Bridget. Hey, Kim. So, you all, this is just general conversation. I want to know how your week has been. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. This is just Night Shift with Nurse Eunice. I'm going to try my best to come on every Tuesday to answer whatever questions you have so we can prepare you for your examinations and we can help you figure out your career paths. And so Mila's asking, how is my day going today? It has been busy, but this is one of the highlights. So, of course, we have the brick and mortar business here. So we have our instructor lab classes, and then in the evenings, whenever we have opportunity, we get online and teach also. But I did get some good news today, but I want to save my good news until I hear your questions and hear about your week. So let me know what questions you have, and let me know how I can help you get to the next goal. All right. And then Veronica says, hello, everybody. And I don't want to mispronounce your name. So I'm going to say Oliver. Oliver has an exam soon. Good luck. We know you're going to do great. We have so many of our students who passed their exams. The niece has given us a thumb up. Hello, Betty. Hey, girl. And then let's see here. Why did bacteria develop easily in warm and moist or cold areas? See, that sounds like a biology type question, and I'm a nurse. And so, Tadong, I don't want to give you any bad information. So, you all help me out. It's 9:00 at night. I am good with nursing, all of the anatomy, physiology, that type of chemistry type stuff. Why do bacteria replicate, grow better in warm clients than they do in cold clients? I think climates. I think that's the question. Let's see what the group has. We're working together tonight. All right. And so Tadong threw me a curveball with that one. Hey, DJ. Hello to you, dear. And let's see here. So hello. And then let's see. I've been on YouTube all day today studying. Hey, I know you're going to do well. All right, so Mila says, last night I saw a video of a dog learning how to do CPR. It was so funny. You know what? We may need that. There are a lot of people right now who are single. They don't have any spouses. So their pets are their family members. And so if we can teach the pets to do CPR, now how the pet is going to drive us to the hospital, that's a whole nother story. But share that link with us, Mila, if you find it. And then Kim, it's so great. I'm so happy to have you here. Let me know what questions you have. Don't ask me anything about biology. So to Dong, they really threw me a curveball with the bacteria in the warmth. And then daughter Lord, I'm so proud of you. Yes, congratulations on passing your test. Hey, Ashley, if this is your first time here, that's such a beautiful baby. We look forward to inviting you into our family. You all let me know what questions you have. And so Sandra, hey girl. All right, and so let's see what Eltina says. Eltina's trying to go to sleep already. She's like, good evening. That's right. Hey, good evening. You also night shift. How many of you are actually working the night shift? I've worked the night shifts before. It's been many moons ago. I used to like working 3 to 11. That was my preferred shift because it gave me time to do things in a day. And then, I can come in at night. And if I still want to go out and celebrate with my friends, get off at 11:30, shower real quick, I still had time to do so. But those 7 p to 7 a shifts, I had to stop doing those because I would be falling asleep on the way home. So what is your favorite shift to work? Are you a day shifter or a night shifter? I know that was a good question that I couldn't answer. I'm gonna have to look it up. All right, and then Veronica, I'm so proud of you. I was hoping I'd hear back from you. I was waiting, so I'm so proud of you. I know you were on last week, and so congratulations. What are your steps now that you've passed your CNA test? And if you have any pointers that you want to share with the others, such as don't be nervous, it's okay to make a mistake. If you do make a mistake, acknowledge it. Don't forget to wash your hands before and after patient care. So, Veronica, if you can give us some tips so that you can help others to pass their test, I would appreciate that. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to, in the future, you all, there is a new community tab where I can make some of you all like mentors. And so I know Mila would be great, like a monitor. And Veronica, if that's something you want to do, please let us know. Keisha, what is the turnaround for exams after paying for the exams? In Florida, it's about 3 to 4 weeks. But if you attended an accredited program, so in Florida, you don't have to go to nursing school. You can just challenge the test. And if you pass, you'll be a CNA. So you're submitting your application directly to the Board of Nursing. You have more control. However, if you go to an approved school, they have to show their records. And then you have to deal with the office. Office is unorganized. So it can take about 2 to 3 weeks for the office actually even submits your application. All right, let's see what our next one is. Looks like Keisha has a question. That was Keisha. Thank you so much, Oliver. So you are on our website also. And again, you have my email address. If you have any specific questions, please let me know. And where are you located? All right. And so, hey, Jeriel, all right, I'm watching your video every day and you're going to pass your test. Yes, you are. Blueberry, I've been watching your videos to help me with my CNA test coming up. I want to do travel CNA. Do you have any tips on that? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I do have tips on travel CNA. I need for you to get about 6 months of experience in the hospital setting. And then let me tell you what these hospitals do. These boogers, whenever you resign, if they know that you took a travel assignment, they will list you as ineligible instead of doing traveling in the immediate period, you can do like local long distance traveling, where if you fix your shift correctly, you can work 312s back to back in your local hospital. And then if you travel 50 miles outside of your city, they consider that traveling. So just be very careful. Now, if you're really tired of your job and you want to go traveling, you don't want to look back, well, then you can go ahead and put in your resignation and do traveling. But get you some experience, because as a traveling CNA, you're going to get some of the hardest patients. They're going to give you the most difficult patients, unfortunately, because they know you get paid the most money. And if you go to more rural areas where it's harder for them to get a CNA, or if you go somewhere that's cold, you are going to get paid at least 25, 30, even more dollars per hour, because they have such a shortage of CNAs in that area. And then once you become a nurse, whether LPN or RN, you can also travel. So CNAs, LPNs, RNs, all of us can travel. Just make sure you are the best CNA before you do so, because your patients need you to be really good. All right, what other questions do we have, team? All right, let's see. Blueberry, I hope that answered your question. Mila says, all right, let's see what Mila says. YouTube short is called Dog Learning CPR. All right, I'm going to do a reaction video, Mila. All right, exam is on the 17th. Yo, Shy, you got 16 days. You are going to do well. Keep studying. Make sure you read your book and learn some terminology. We're going to do a test in a few minutes, you all. And let's see what Tadong has. So where are you located? I need to know where you're located. How can I schedule my practice test? Last time when my practice test was nervous, I failed because for reschedule, but anytime I call the office, they give me another day to call. If you're calling our office for help with your practice test, I'm unsure of why you'll be calling our office. Attend our program. So, like, where are you located, and what is your school doing to assist you with the rescheduling process? That would be my next question. Oh yeah, you worked the night shift last night. Hey, Blue, I'm so happy to be here, girl. Look at that pose. I'm doing that pose right now. You just can't see it. Do you have any questions for me, Blue? I'll be happy to answer them for you. All right, so Maureen says, I'm planning on working nights after I pass my examination. Maureen, God bless you, girl, because those 12-hour shifts and then driving home afterwards, you all be very careful. And if you are tired after working a 12-hour shift, please pull over and go to sleep. A nurse calls direct because she fell asleep at the wheel after a 12-hour shift. And not only did they, of course, fine her, they actually arrested her. She got charged with manslaughter. So be careful. If you are tired after work, just go to sleep. Do not get behind that wheel and start driving. All right. And so, hey, Tanaka. Yes, my CNA book is on Amazon, but I need to make a new one. So the one that's on Amazon right now is heavily skill focused, and it also has terminology. So the new book that I'm going to hopefully finish this weekend, that is the goal. So it'll be available on Amazon, let's say mid-July. That one's going to have practice test questions. And so, oh yeah, you all, my win. I have my custom chat GPT. So there is a Nurse Eunice GPT that I'll be sharing soon that will answer questions. That is right. So we're going AI, baby. That's right. Awesome job. Mila's congratulating you, Veronica. Oh, you got a lot of people congratulating you. Ashley, you passed your skills. And so I know in some states, like in Florida, you can take both tests on the same day. Other states, you take one test, and when you pass that one, you go back and you take the second one. So regardless, I am proud of you. You are halfway there, and I know that you're going to be successful. And then I just created a video on Monday that talks about the CNA to nurse options. So you can do anything for 1 year. LPN school is 1 year, and I know people LPN, you all have been nurse for 26 years. They've never gotten rid of LPNs. They will not get rid of LPNs. You can go from CNA to LPN in 1 year, and then you can do an LPN to RN bridge the next year. So either way, in 2 years, you will be an RN, but you're making money along the way, good money. And on top of that, a lot of your facilities will have tuition reimbursement. All right. And so Ashley passed her exam. I love your name. The daughter of the Lord. Thank you so much, Nurse Eunice. I passed my written exam, waiting on skill next week. All right. So you're not answering my question about where you are located. So you keep asking about how do you so in order for me to answer your question, I have to know where you are located because every state is different. So if you don't tell me where you're located, I can't help you. And then Martha is like, why is the Texas state exam so hard? Martha, tell me what's hard about it. Is it more terminology? Because I've all the tests are hard. Is it the skills? Is it the written? Let's figure out what your areas are where you're deficient, and let's focus on that one. And you all don't forget, I am your online, educator. I can assist you, but you all have those in-house instructors who are also there to help you pass these tests. So some of your questions you have to redirect back to them. But yeah, send me that test plan, because when you all want to know what's on your state examination, you would type in that state, for example, Texas CNA candidate bulletin. and it will break down the test for you. So if you haven't done that yet, go to your states, go to Google or whatever site you're going to use for searching, put the state in, followed by CNA candidate bulletin, and get the information on that test so that nothing's a secret to you. All right, and so let's see this one. This video applies to Texas. Yes, Martha, right now we're not doing any questions. We'll do questions about 5 more minutes as far as practice questions to help you pass your test. But unless I say specifically, this information is just for Florida. Anytime I do a question and answer, it's good nationally. All right, so let's see here. Ediana, hey, thank you for coming. Let's see here. You're located in Dallas, Texas. So let me do a search for you because I'm not sure why your instructor hasn't helped you with this, how to take the CNA exam in Dallas, Texas. You all just bear with me. I'm going to answer this question. Some states require that you go to school. So Dallas could be one of those states. And so in Dallas, you have to complete a 100-hour state-approved nurse aid training program that includes 40 hours of clinical practice. And so you have to go to school, and that school will then submit your application for your state examination. And I'm putting that information in, and I just simply found that information by Googling it. Okay, so if you're located in Texas, you got to go to school. Mila says, can you please do a practice test on emergency care in a hospital setting? Mila, I got a whole video playlist on managing megacodes. And I know some of that terminology may be outside of your scope of practice if you're a CNA, but if a patient goes into cardiac arrest, or if a patient's heart rate is fast or if it's slow, we all work together around that bed. And the CNA is the one who's doing the vital signs. They're helping with positioning. They're the runner getting supplies. And so your role is so vital. And while I said the term CNA versus PCT, when you think of a CNA, think more of like a nursing home facility where they're going to have medical emergencies there too, but a patient care tech is hospital level, and usually they can do more skills such as insert catheters. So if a person is retaining urine, they can actually insert a urinary catheter if they've been trained to do so. A CNA cannot. So a CNA just has basic knowledge and they provide basic care. All right, and so we have another question about travel CNA. Can you be a travel CNA when you work in a group home? I wouldn't, Betty, because again, they're going to give you the toughest patients. So when you're nursing or travel CNA work, usually that means that you're going to be given a contract to work in a hospital. And so you need to be able to take care of 12 to 20 patients who have various illnesses. One could have diabetes, another could have a wound, one can have mental health issues, cardiac issues. You have to understand the diet. You have to understand that schedule. You come in, you get your equipment, you get your supplies, you go room to room, get those vital signs, get your patients up, empty catheter. So you're not going to get a lot of that experience inside of a group home or a residential home because usually they're pretty stable. They don't have acute issues. And if they did, they send them out to a hospital to get stabilized. All right, let's go. You all are having some great questions tonight. All right, so you're right around the corner from me, girl. You're in Polk County. All right, and so Diana, are you about to go to bed? Good night, Diana. Veronica is giving us advice, everybody. She says for the clinical skills, it's best to pay attention to safety and hand washing plus acknowledging your errors. That is right. In the state of Florida, we can say correction. If we mess up, you can say correction. The nurse will ask, what are you correcting? And you will let them know what you did wrong. And she will let you know if you need to start all over again or if you can resume from the point that you actually acknowledged your error. That is right. So great insight. All right. So Eltina says, is the international exam worded the same as the local examination? There, to my knowledge, is not an international nursing assistant examination. In the state examination. Now, whenever you go to nursing school, that's when you have a national examination. That's why a nurse, once they're licensed in Florida, they can usually travel all around the nation without having to get, licenses in every state. So CNA is state, not national. So therefore, international would not apply. All right, let's see what Carrie has to say. Carrie says, hey, let me say, I love you. I love all your videos. Girl, thank you so much. You're awesome. My question is, what's the difference between CNA and PCT job duties? Okay, so CNA, you are doing, let's talk about like assisted living facilities or nursing homes. So at the CNA, you're doing the basic duties. You're helping them up, maybe memory care, cute. They are usually more stable. So these are your long-term care patients who may be in a nursing home. You're doing vital signs. You're helping them get dressed. You do reminders. So in some places, you can also be a medication aid where you can help give medications. So these are your long-term residents who are not in a hospital. They're more in like a residential facility. You get to take them to bingo, totally different environment versus the hospital. You are moving and shaking. You have admissions, you have discharges. We have to get this patient to radiology. And as a patient care tech, if they've trained you to do so, there are certain procedures or tasks that you can also do, such as inserting a catheter, removing IVs. If they need you to do an EKG, some of your facilities teach you how to do that. So patient care tech is a higher level. You usually still have to have your CNA license. It's a higher level. And in our area, if you earn your CNA license, the hospitals will hire you as the PCT and give you on-the-job training. So PCT is a higher level than a CNA. All right, so let's see what our next question is. Mila, are you flying on a plane soon? Mila, you have an airplane, girl. It says you love an airplane. I'm thinking about taking my son on a flight because he's almost 13, and I had a dream one night that he could not navigate the airport, and that scared the heck out of me. And so I want to take a flight with him. He's taken flights when he was younger, but this time I want to take a flight with him where he would be leading as we navigate the concourse and we, get on the second flight, etc. Because I believe that our kids need to be globally minded, and if something goes awry in the United States, I have a brother who lives in Dubai. I want him to be comfortable traveling and be competent while doing so. All right, so Blue says, I have a test for the next week. Thanks for your videos. I know you're going to pass, and that's the attitude you all need to have. You all, the CNA test is not hard. I've been creating these videos for a long time, and the reason why I started creating the videos was because of one student. She could do her hands-on skills. She was 9 months pregnant. If I asked her to read a passage, answer questions, she could. When she went and she took her test, she failed. And she failed her written test. And I'm pretty good. I'm like, if I would have known she had problems with reading or comprehension, I would have told her to take an audio test. And then when she gave birth, she had complications. So now we're 3 months later, and she finally comes back to me and say, hey, I need to retake my written test. Can you help me? And my question is like, what happened? How did you fail it? And she said that she had testing anxiety. She never does well on tests, never had. And I didn't catch that. And because I didn't catch that, I wanted to make sure that nobody else fails their CNA written tests because they have testing anxiety. I will read every freaking question to you with the answers and the rationales, because if that's all it takes for you to build your confidence to pass your test on the first attempt is someone to help you understand the concepts because maybe your reading isn't the best or you have anxiety, that's what I'm here to do. So that I hope will also encourage you, because I'm passing the torch and I need for you, Blue, Mila, Jose, all the rest of you, all Veronica, maybe in the next few years, you're going to be the nurse educators who will be taking my place in educating others, and I'm helping them pass their examination. So passing the torch. All right, so Jeriel's in Orlando, Daughter of the Lamb is in Rhode Island, Kayla's in Philadelphia. Thank you all so much. The written test is not hard if you know medical terminology. So, for example, everybody, incontinent, a lot of people think that when we speak of incontinence, we're talking about somebody who is retaining urine when it's actually the opposite. If someone is incontinent, they're usually going to have on an incontinent brief or an incontinent pad to soak up the moisture. So when someone's incontinent, they can't control their bowel or they can't control their bladder, which means they're going to be wet. How does that apply to your CNA test? Because it may ask you a question such as a CNA, how do you prevent urinary incontinence? And one of the answer options could be, would you insert a urinary catheter? Would you put the patient on the bedpan? And so the answer would be to make sure they go to the bathroom more frequently. And if they can't get out of bed, then yes, you're going to offer that bedpan more frequently. So as a CNA, when you take your test, you cannot insert catheters. You can't do anything invasive. Plus, on top of that, as a nurse, we don't insert a catheter into someone's bladder because they're leaking urine. We have to have a medical reason to insert a catheter, because a catheter would increase their risk of getting a UTI because of the additional infection exposure. So that's the kind of things you have to think about on your test. If you don't know the terminology, you're going to answer the question incorrectly. And so you all, before we go any further, I want to tell you that today I got acknowledged. And so there was an article written about me on MSN, and I'm going to put that link in the chat before we start we'll do about 5 questions tonight before we do our practice questions. And it's such a blessing that someone actually honored me. So they wrote a little article about me. And if you have time, please click on the article, share it, because it's not too often that us medical professionals get recognition. And my recognition came because I love helping CNAs. And so the article is entitled From Exam Room to Empowerment, How Eunice Mathis is Revolutionizing CNA Education. That's right. It doesn't take much. Just take somebody with a heart to get on here and to help people pass their test. All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions. You all, there are like 3 more questions. So after we get through these questions, we will start our practice test. All right, so looks like DJ. I'm just going to say DJ. DJ says, Nurse Eunice, give the LPN. No, we don't do the LPN program. So we do supplement education. We do CNA. Once you have completed LPN school, if you still have questions or you are having a hard time passing the NCLEX, we have the NCLEX prep. We have the hands-on skills lab. But LPN school requires clinical partnerships that we don't have, such as being able to go to a hospital that has a labor and delivery unit. And it just takes a lot. And we are a small business, even though we have a global footprint. It's literally only 4 of us that work in the office full time. And so unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to be a school for LPNs, but we are awesome at preparing CNAs and also preparing nurses once they complete LPN or RN school. And in the state of Florida, you all, about 15% of all first-time testers, whether it's LPN or RN, they fail the NCLEX examination. So whatever the schools right now are doing is not sufficient. So that's where educators like myself, we come on, we do, may not be one-on-one, but it's group training sessions, and we give those nursing students the additional confidence and education they need to pass their test. Is the international exam worded the same as the local examination for PCTs? Eltina, I don't know, baby, because I'm not versed with what happens internationally. What I do know is that if you are desiring to become a nurse, that NCLEX, usually the NCLEX is taken internationally, and we do have a partnership with REMAR, and it's called REMAR Review. So if you all haven't checked out Nurse Regina, she is freaking awesome. Tell her I said it. So it's REMAR Review. If you go to her website, like she discusses, she flies all over from Nigeria to Kenya to the Philippines. I think she went to Singapore. She flies internationally. She's based out of the US, but because those, not CNAs, but nurses can study abroad, and they do have an international NCLEX. So I think you're getting the NCLEX confused with the CNA examination. There is not an international or a national CNA examination. In our area, it is just by the state. So please check out Regina's website. She's on YouTube, Remar Review, and that way you can start asking questions about the nursing program. So if you're trying to come to the US, you want to come as a nurse, not as a CNA. All right. And so Tanaka says, I download your practice from your site. I'll continue to use those. Thank you so much, dear. And as soon as I get it updated, I will post you. I'll post it online. All right. And then Mila, being an 911 operator, that will be kind of scary sometimes. Mila, I've been talking to you for a few months. And what I want you to remember is that all of this is scary, but you have faith. God is going to guide you. And that facility has protocols. So if there's an emergency, you literally type in the emergency and it's going to tell you what to say. And I know that you're going to be calm and you're going to help that person with their situation. And you're going to keep them calm until the advanced rescuers get there, until EMS get there. So I know you can do it. Have faith in yourself. And it may be scary, but girl, you are ready for it. You can answer most of these questions before I ask them. All right, everybody. Any other questions we'll save for a few moments. Let's go ahead and add this question to the stage. All right, so question 13. Because I'm not doing all these questions, we're going to do about 5 questions. So let's start here. Question 13. Let me hide Mila's comment. What term describes the opposite of being unconscious? Is it sedated, oriented, alert, or asleep? What is the opposite of unconscious? All right, revealing the answer in 3, 2, and there are so many questions that you all had a lot of questions tonight. Oh my God. Before we leave, I will go back and look at those questions that I missed. All right, and so everyone put C, and I'm so proud of you. You are right, it is alert. So a patient who is alert is fully awake and responsive, which is the opposite of being unconscious, where the patient is unresponsive to stimuli. All right, let's go here. All right, so question 15. During your shift as a nurse, let's use cluster care for Mr. Adams so he can rest. Sorry, during your shift, a nurse says, let's use cluster care for Mr. Adams so he can rest. What should you do? A, provide only oral, I can't read. Provide only hygiene care and skip the rest. B, plan to do all patient tasks at once to minimize disturbances. C, document care every 30 minutes. D, spread out care over the shift so nothing is missed. Or E, all of the above. All right, yeah, that's right. One person gave me a thumbs up. Whoever you are, I love you. For the other 60 of you, give your nurse buddy a thumbs up. All right. And so for this one, we're torn between B's and E's. Oh my God. It's like half and half. So B says plan to do all the tasks at once to minimize disturbances. And E says all of the above. You all, as a CNA, you are not documenting every 30 minutes unless that patient is on like suicide watch or something. So you're not going to be documenting every 30 minutes. So it's definitely not C. And if it's not C, it means it's also not E. So the answer is B. Great job. If you got that right, give yourself applause. All right. And so for this one, you walk into a room and you see a patient struggling to breathe and turning blue. You press the call light, but no one answers quickly. Where is that nurse? What should you do next? A, wait for your assigned nurse. B, call housekeeping for help. C, activate the rapid response team. D, begin charting the event. Or E, leave the patient and go find the nurse. Thank you, Eltina. I feel so special. All right. Patient struggling to breathe. You've called for help. Nobody's coming. You need to hit that panic button. You're going to, baby, it is C. So right above the head of the bed in most of your facilities, you're going to see a button that says code. I need for you to hit that code button because there'll be a light outside the room that's going to begin to flash. And there's going to be a sound penetrating the hallways. Someone is about to come to you. So the rapid response team, or RRT, is called for early signs of clinical deterioration to prevent cardiac or respiratory arrest. CNAs and PCTs are encouraged to call RRT if get help is needed and nursing staff isn't present. And so when my mom was having her medical issues, that patient care tech, she had only been on the job, you all, 2 days. She saw my mom was struggling to breathe. She was previously a transporter. So this is somebody who was just the one who was moving patients from rooms to procedures. And so she completed her video training. They did not do hands-on training with her, but she had a wonderful personality. And then she sees my mom struggling to breathe. She's the one who activated the rapid response team. So as a patient care team, if you see something, say something. If you call for that nurse and the nurse isn't getting there fast enough, go ahead and activate code blue, because you doing so can help save a patient's life. All right, so question 17, you're assigned to a patient with a DNR order. During care, the patient becomes unresponsive and has no pulse. What is your immediate responsibility? A, begin CPR immediately. B, call the family and notify them. C, call a code blue and begin chest compressions. D, begin postmortem care before the rigor mortis begins. Or E, notify the nurse without starting CPR. Thank you, Nene. Hey, I'm getting all my thumbs up today. Thank you. All right, so if someone has a DNR order and they become unresponsive and they do not have a pulse, everybody, you are right. Josie, looks like it's Oleni. Runchy, yes, you're right. This is E. You're going to be notifying the nurse without starting CPR, because a DNR or a do not resuscitate order means that no CPR should be started if the patient stops breathing or does not have a pulse. CNAs and PCT should alert the nurse immediately, and then the nurse will tell you what to do, but we're going to follow the care plan. And as a nurse, if you want to know what happens from there, if a patient has a do not resuscitate order, I would have to listen to their apical pulse, so stethoscope to the chest for 1 full minute. So it's not just feeling for a pulse, because they could have a really weak pulse. I am listening for heart sounds for 1 full minute. And if I don't hear heart sounds, even though the person is clinically dead, nurses don't pronounce death. Nurses would document the time that we didn't hear a heartbeat. And then if the doctor is in house, of course, the doctor can come sign off and then document the time of death. But if the doctor's not in house, let's say it's home or hospice type care, the nurse would have to call the doctor. And then from there, notify family members that may, or, and then we can begin the aftercare process. And that would be your post-mortem care. And we can get them transferred to the morgue if we're in a facility, such as a hospital. And if we're not in a hospital, if we're in a nursing home, then usually there's still an area where we would put the person after they are deceased, but then they would be transferred to the funeral home. So I hope that kind of helped you understand what happens to a person once they are deceased in your facility. It's still a process that has to be taken care of after the fact. All right, so let's go to our next question. Girl, first try, second try. I'm so proud of you for not giving up. So cheek out. I'm so proud of you. Mwah. That is a testimony. You did not give up and you kept on going. All right, so let's do our last question. Then I'm going to go back up and read those questions that I missed. I'm going to skip that one. Let's see. Let me find a different one for you all. Okay, I like this one because we have a lot of students and patients with language barriers. So a CNA is caring for a patient who speaks limited English. To help the patient understand bathing instructions, the CNA uses her personal cell phone to access a free translation app. Which rule or guideline did the CNA likely violate? Is it A, the CNA failed to complete charting in a timely manner? B, the CNA violated infection control policies. C, the CNA acted inappropriately, the CNA acted appropriately by taking initiative. D, the CNA used an unapproved method for patient communication and breached confidentiality. All right, we're torn between C's and D's. But the majority of you all said D, and you are right. You all, we can't do that. We just can't pull out our phone. It listens to everything anyway. But even though it was well intended, you meant well. Using personal devices or unapproved translation services can lead to HIPAA violations, which is a breach of confidentiality. And also, sometimes Google Translate doesn't work that well, so we can have inaccurate communication. So, facilities typically require the use of hospital approved medical interpreters or certified translation lines to protect patient privacy and ensure safe, clear communication. So, if you absolutely cannot use gestures, cannot use pictures to get this patient to understand the instructions that you're giving, go and let your nurse know so that we can get one of these translation services that are approved by your facility. All right, let's see this one. All right, so during the cyber attack, your facility's charting system is offline. A nurse asks you to continue documenting the vital signs on paper. What is your responsibility as a CNA? A, only document if you're asked to. B, skip documentation until the system is back up. C, document vitals on the assigned paper forms legibly and accurately. Or D, wait and memorize the information for later entry. Yes, yes, yes. For everybody who put C, you're absolutely correct because in the event of system outages, paper documentation becomes essential. CNAs must record observations clearly and promptly to ensure continuity of care and legal accuracy. And you all, if your computer or your payroll system ever goes down, there have been some nurses and CNAs as of late who were overpaid. And even though they documented on paper, somehow the paper got lost. So you can't take patient information with you. That's a no-no. But if that timekeeping device goes down, I need for you to write down your time, have your manager sign off, because one nurse would have to work for 2 months for free because they said they overpaid her and they wanted all of their money back. And but she says she's adamant that she was not overpaid. It was a glitch in their system. So make sure that you keep something if the system goes down. As far as your patients, you should be okay. But as far as your payroll and your time, you don't want that to bite you in the butt, 6 months down the road. All right, so we had a question, you all. So looks like it is Runchy says, how do they mark the exam? Because my score said I failed by 0.38 points. That sucks. And I'm sorry that happened to you. So based on where you are located, some of the questions have more weight than others. And so if you are answering questions, let's say you have 60 questions, but 5 of them were on safety, and you missed all of the questions on safety, those questions had more weight. So you're like, hold up, out of 60, I only missed 5. Why did I fail? Because according to their ratio, which I don't know the internals behind it, but according to their ratio, because you missed the question, fail your exam because you failed the safety segment. Something that wouldn't have as much weight will be communication. So yes, we still need you to talk when you're in the room, but if you are more quiet, but you're safe, you're still going to be okay. So how will you know the breakdown? You're going to go to Google, and then you're going to put in your state's information and then type in CNA candidate bulletin, and it will give you the breakdown. Okay, let's go back up. Let's see what other questions we missed. Lisa says, I'm located in Seminole County, but I'm willing to travel outside of my area. And so there are some CNA exam prep locations in your area, but if you want to travel to Jacksonville, we do have weekend CNA exam prep classes. A lot of our students who travel, they literally register for their CNA exam because we got the videos that show you how to do so before they ever come to Jacksonville. So we actually had a student from Daytona who, because she did everything in advance, she had her test scheduled for Monday. She came to us that Saturday and Sunday. Of course, she passed her test on Monday. Right now, she is finishing nursing school. So you all in Florida, it's not hard. You just got to learn your skills and do exactly what you do right now. You have to be prepared for the written test also. Again, I'm going in reverse, you all. So I'm going to be answering some of these questions. Let's see here. I failed in 2018. I didn't retake back. I worked as a home care. I love home care. You all are sleeping on home care. I don't know why you want to work that hard and work in these hospitals. You can have the young lady who I was just telling you about, who traveled weekend, took her test on a Monday. Her first job, she took care of a husband and wife inside of a house after taking a 2-day class. She was paid $28 an hour, taking care of 2 people who weren't total care. So stop sleeping on home care. It will allow you to study for nursing school. You just can't fall asleep. And then you don't want to be working that hard. Everybody glamorizes the hospital, but don't forget that home care is a viable option. You'll still make good money and it's less taxing on your body. So I'm happy that you pointed that out, Kim. Thank you for doing that. Tanaka says she's doing home care now. Looks like Kaya Mighty. She said something about safety and headmaster. So I think that's the questions that she has. I'm going up. I'm going up. All right. And so you failed your test 2 times. But you're in Texas. So you failed. So let me ask you this question, and no offense. How well is your English? Because sometimes when you all are failing the test, it's because you have to just take a step back. I know you don't want to do this, and take an English as a second language course. They are free. They're offered at the libraries and at your colleges, your community colleges. When we find that we have students with language barriers, it's so hard for them to pass their CNA examinations. And I'm going to make this really big because I want you all to hear me quite clearly. I barely speak one language. I mess up the English language. You all come to the US speaking 3 and 4 languages. It is hard to learn a new language and learn the medical terminology. I need for you just before you take your test a 3rd time, go ahead, contact the library, contact your community college, and say that you want to enroll in a class that is the English as a second language class. They are free. And I can promise you, if you do that, your communication is going to be better. And something else that a lot of our foreign caregivers do is when they're at home, they communicate in their native tongue. You can't do that. You can't be watching the TV shows from your native country. You have to be able to speak and communicate in English. And so I'm thinking, I'm just a little hunch. I'm thinking that's probably the issue, that your English isn't that strong. So when you're taking the test, you're answering the questions incorrectly. Another tip that I would give you is that you can ask for an audio examination. So they would actually have a headpiece that you would wear, and it will read the questions and answers to you. And that is usually at no additional cost. So really, really consider how well you speak and read English. And if that isn't the problem, maybe you need the audio test. I don't care how you pass this test, as long as you pass it, and don't be afraid to seek help. All right, so let me go back. All right, I passed my exam today. I failed. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that you failed your test, dear. We have a couple of people who failed. When you failed, they give you a sheet that tells you why you failed. Make sure you analyze that. Something else you can do is you can actually take your sheet, you can upload it to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to give you a customized plan based off of the areas that you need improvement. So you all, no reason for you to fail this test, because ChatGPT can do something your teacher can't. It's going to analyze your test results and let you know what you need to do to pass. So let's see what else is in our chat. If there are any new questions, we can put them at the bottom. We'll be on for about 3 more minutes, and we're going to celebrate all the people who have passed their examination. Do we have anybody who has recently got accepted into nursing school? And if so, is it LPN? Is it RN? So whether CNA to LPN, CNA to RN, look, it doesn't matter. As long as you're doing it, you're not competing with anybody. You're doing all this at your own pace and at your own race. All right. And so you all, we're on our last question segment because Nurse Eunice got to work tomorrow. And then Tanaka says, study and pray, and then pray and study. Y'all got this. Tanaka, you took us home with that one. And then Eliza says that she's an accelerated nursing program. Girl, God bless you because you got clinicals, you got a lot to learn, but I know you can do it. I'm so proud of you. All right. And so, you all, if you don't have any further questions, I will be ending the live stream in about, let's give you another minute. And so, you all know how much I love you, how much I appreciate you all. You are some of the best just students and best humans because you actually care and you want to provide good patient care. And that's why you're watching these videos. And remember, I am passing the torch. I am almost 50. I need for you all to become Nurse Eunices. That is right. So whatever you do, do it with passion, do it with love, and give more than you expect back in return. So I love you all. Good night, everybody. Mila, next Tuesday, I'm going to show that video. All right. Good night, you all.